Okay, I'm here in my living room, and this is a DRZ engine. There's nothing wrong with it, but I'm going to take it apart anyway and make it a stroker big bore. I mean, why not? Look at that. Okay, I got this DRZ engine here that I'm going to get ready for teardown. You can see it's a little dirty, so I'm going to clean it up. Then I'm going to work on getting it tore down. My goal tonight is to get the top end off, so I'm going to try to share that as I get that done, and hopefully somebody will enjoy it. Okay, I went ahead and got the engine to top dead center and pulled my valve cover and the timing chain tensioner, as well as, got all my cams out. So I'm getting this all organized over here. And I'm just taking a look at a few things here. I just got this kind of dangling off to the side, this timing chain. Of course, it's going to be replaced with a brand new one. I just don't want it getting down in there and getting wedged. Something I did find, again, this engine was pulled and they had it as an alternative. That's a little bit concerning. It's a little grungy, but it's not been set in a crazy amount of time, but I don't like that. Luckily, we're replacing the piston and the cylinder here, so I'm just wanting to see and make sure this head is in good shape, but I'm thinking it probably will. Probably just a little bit of goop. We'll see. Okay, I got the head off and the cylinder off, and I got the cylinder exposed, and I wanted to leave this undisturbed. When I pulled the spark plug, it had some nasty on it. I was like, why the heck did this happen? Did this get killed? Does this engine get killed because someone wrote it in the sand without a filter? And the answer is no. What had happened here is they just kind of had one of these shop towels here stuffed kind of in there, and at some point it got exposed to some dirt. So that's going to clean up just fine. There's a little bit of gunk here on the let's see. So if we turned it around this way, there's the intake side. You can see there's just a little bit of goop here. So that'll clean up nice. I'm just going to clean this cylinder up and it'll be all right. So if you're going to store an engine long term, make sure and seal off that intake and exhaust opening there with something a little bit more permanent. I've got a couple of engines in the garage here where I've got those kind of stuffed in there, but I've got double layered plastic bags over everything, so nothing can get in there. Got a nice oil layer in there, and it's good and happy. So I just wanted to share that real quick, and I think that's about it for tonight. I'm trying not to go at this project too fast, but I got a little bit of mayhem already on my workstation, so that's where I'm at tonight. So tomorrow I'm going to work on getting the stator cover off here. A little bit alarmed about this. Someone tried to get into the starter clutch and driver assembly, but we'll clean it up if we have to. Get the starter off, get the clutch side case cover off, and move right on. So anyway, I just want to thank everybody for watching, and see you next time. All right, I'm back with the DRZ bottom end to this engine for the 470 stroker. So I'm going to continue tearing it down, dismantling. So I'm going to take the starter motor off. I'm going to work on the stator side here, take the stator cover off, and take the flywheel off, and get it stripped down. And then I'm going to proceed also doing the same thing, tearing down everything off of the clutch side case here, removing the clutch and all the business over here, so I can start getting it the rest of the way down to start splitting the cases. Well, I had to get the needle nose vice grips, the hacksaw, and an extra big standard screwdriver out, but I got this beast out of here, which probably means nobody else was able to do it, which means no one's harvested this stator out of here. Okay, the 470 DRZ build continues. Of course, I'm still on teardown. We're looking at the clutch side of the case here. I've already removed the stator and flywheel side components, and I've got that there. And I have some mayhem on my workstation, and I have everything all organized and bagged out over here. The clutch was roasted on this poor thing, and it looked like the springs were let to get loosened. Come on, Dewey, talk. So I'm going to have to get a clutch kit for it. But other than that, everything's moving along nicely. I'm just waiting on getting my MAP gas torch so I can heat up these screws so I can extract them easily, because they need that heat. Okay, I just got done breaking loose these terribly tight countersunk screws on the DRZ. And how I did it was, I had my MAP gas torch over here. And what I did was, I preheated the area a little bit, but anybody that works with metal knows that aluminum wants to heat soak real bad. So I wanted to get the metal, just the steel that are these countersunk screws, really hot. So I preheated them, then I got that MAP gas and I got this thing up to glowing hot, and I set it on this one. This one was the one that was particularly difficult. I cycled that a few times and it just absorbed all that heat. And I used my impact screwdriver. I'm trying not to start a fire because that's still tremendously hot. And I was able to just whack it, and I broke it loose. Okay, today's Thanksgiving Day, and I did one video before this I'm going to put with this one where I was messing with these screws that are on this. But back with the DRZ teardown, and what I'm doing is I'm getting ready to split the cases. I've gone over here real quick. Got my templates from the engine clutch side and the stator side where you have your case half mounts, and I'm getting ready to split the cases. You can even see where I got a little bit of a gap here. So just wanted to share that real quick. I'm not going to do it tonight, I don't think, but I might. So this is moving right along. Okay, I'm here working on the DRZ 470 project, and I'm looking from the clutch side, and I'm going to do a little bit of a case splitting here. And yes, I do see that there's a gear down here, and I'm just going to give this a little bit of a push as I'm separating these cases because it's being stubborn and I don't want to wedge up underneath it. So, and yes, this stud here is taking a little bit of abuse, and that's because of this flywheel puller that I've used for a multitude of things. I got a little aggressive one time, and that caused that, but it's still good enough to do what I'm wanting to do here. So I'm going to split the cases and see what we find. Okay, I'm here working on the DRZ 470 project, and I'm looking from the clutch side, and I'm going to do a little bit of a case splitting here. And yes, I do see that there's a gear down here, and I'm just going to give this a little bit of a push as I'm separating these cases because it's being stubborn and I don't want to wedge up underneath it. So, and yes, this stud here is taking a little bit of abuse, and that's because of this flywheel puller that I've used for a multitude of things. I got a little aggressive one time, and that caused that, but it's still good enough to do what I'm wanting to do here. So I'm going to split the cases and see what we find. Well, after using the Tusk puller installer on both sides, man, it was real tight, but she seems pretty happy. Still shifts, should be good. Okay, I got the kickstart mechanism installed, and I'm pretty happy about that. Okay, got the big bore cylinder here for the stroker, and I'm giving it a bath in some soapy water. I got a little brush over here that I'm cleaning out all this surface with to make sure there's no debris in this on this cylinder, particularly the cylinder wall. This is an electroplated material. It's not a steel sleeve, it's electroplated. So it's very, very hard. And what I'm going to do is wash it really thoroughly, and then I'm going to rinse it very thoroughly. As soon as it's somewhat dry, well, fully dry, I'm going to get some oil on this cylinder wall so it doesn't oxidize. That way I can take the piston rings and check for ring gap so that it's in spec. Okay, I got it all washed and dried, and I'm going to get some oil on that surface to prepare it for checking ring gap and to prevent oxidation. Okay, now I got some fresh oil on the cylinder wall, and it's nice and happy. My neck kind of hurts tonight, so I'm going to save tomorrow for checking ring gap. Let that rotella soak in. You know I ain't going to spend that big money on oil. You crazy? Alright, I got my valve spring compressor tool here, and I've got these pieces here that are part of this kit that I have that push down in and around this double spring setup here, and there is the valve stem, and that is held on there by a little indention and these two clips. So the whole idea is to press the spring down and expose these clips, and I have my little magnet that I pull them out with. At the same time, I'm pushing from the valve on the bottom to keep it from moving out, and I'm just getting them all exposed so I can replace this valve guide seal. And I'm going to do a little cleaning up on this head. I'm not doing a full-on port job, but we can clean it up a little bit because any little bit helps. So that's what we're doing today. All right, we're in my kitchen, and this is my steel plate here, and I've got it clamped down with a couple of pieces of wood and some emery cloth that I use to condition cylinder heads and get them 100% flat. And you can see I kind of did my version of head work, which that's not my forte, but this will do just fine. So, and I'm just going to do this one off. All I'm doing, and that's going to be a lot better because I'm going to use both hands, but I'm doing figure eights with this. So my whole purpose is to recondition this surface. So I'm going to put a picture with this. Here's how it looks now, and of course I'll have to clean up the combustion chamber. Let's see how it works out. Okay, that's where I'm at so far. I see a little bit of a corner right here that's not getting all the way, and you can kind of see the indentation of the former head gasket still in there. So I'm going to hit it just a little bit more at this grit and then finish it off with a finer grit, and then we'll be good. But I'm just not happy with how it is right here just yet, and these indentations. So making good progress, and then I'll finish cleaning it up. Okay, so I just got done finishing it up, and this is going to be just enough. I don't like to try to shave too much off of these. Just enough to get the head level and the marks out of it, and that's what we've accomplished. So now I'm going to clean up the combustion chamber, and then we'll be ready to rock and put it back together after giving it a bath. Okay, I've got the valve guide seals, the old ones, out of the head previously to giving it a bath, and I've replaced them with new ones. I soaked them in some oil, which, you know, is a good practice, and I got all the valves back in. Let's see. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. So I'm going to put away my valve spring compressor tool, and then I'm going to move on to the next phase. Okay, got the piston on. Made sure and oriented the rings properly and get them installed. And I also oiled up this piston a little bit. I'll do some more when I go to install the cylinder. Got my circlips in place and made sure that they were set in how I needed them to be. And so I think this is a good stopping point for tonight. Okay, I got the cylinder head on. I just got my little magnet piece in place there to hold the cam chain in place. And with how this design is, you can do a complete cam chain quite easily replacement. And if you got an older DRZ, you probably should do that. But to do that, you have to remove your side case, your clutch side case cover. Anyway, got everything located and cleaned up. I'm not putting the head bolts in or anything. It's getting kind of late, but I need a little bit of wrench in therapy tonight. So I got that on there, and we've got a stroker, guys. This thing's going to be a beast. It's going to hurt some WR450 feelings, I think. What do you guys think? See you next time. Okay, I've got our cylinder head on, and I'm pretty happy about it. Everything worked pretty smoothly. This isn't too crazy for me to do, but just for your information, our 4 cylinder head bolts are underneath these cams, and I torqued them down to 18 foot-pounds, then 34 foot-pounds as the manual instructs. And we have the stage 2 hot cams on this, just to give us a little bit more. I know there's better ones out there, but that's what we went with. This exhaust cam is slightly behind, but I have this timed properly. I wanted to note real quick that what we do when we're installing the stage 2 cams is to count 15 pins in between the 12 o'clock marks of the intake and exhaust cam, with the exhaust cam timed properly. You will see that this timing mark is slightly behind, but that's where it needs to be to function properly. Okay, I had these plates soaking in oil, and I just wanted to show that I'd got this clutch reassembled. Of course, this has this little piece that goes on top of the rod that's actuated by the clutch cable and lever. Let's see. So there's that. I'm going to put this plate on here. And let's see, I got them over here somewhere. It's going to be putting out a lot of power, so I got these Tusk heavy duty springs. So this thing's going to be able to handle that power. Maybe. We'll find out. It's not far away. All right, welcome back to the garage. And yes, this is another DRZ. Don't fret. The doozie's sitting over there, but I've got plans for it as well. Oh, that's an FMF header on there. Anyway, this is the DRZ that's going to receive the 470 stroker engine that I've been working on. And it's pretty much ready. I just got to test it and get it tuned for it. I met my buddy Nate in Columbia, Missouri, and we ate a delicious meal of Hardee's burgers while discussing the rest of this project. But anyway, he met me at Columbia, Missouri from Illinois. We met halfway, and I brought her back to my garage. So I'm going to tear all this stuff off. I've drained the fluids already, and I'm going to rip this engine out and put the stroker in there, and we're going to make some big power. Thanks for watching. Yes, that's an engine on the ground. And that's a bunch of parts that I've taken off of this DRZ. And yes, that's a assembled header pipe on a mid pipe because I couldn't get them to come apart. I'm going to get that apart for the reinstall, but how about that? this project's moving along pretty quickly. But I had to take a lot of different things apart, shift around the subframe a lot. But engine's out, so I'm getting pretty excited. You know what that means? It's going to be time to put a monster in there. Right there. Some big power coming right up. All right, we have a 470 stroker in this DRZ. I'm pretty excited about it. I really had a little bit of a struggle reattaching the swing arm as it mounts to the rear part of the engine over here, because there's just not much clearance, but I figured it out. I've got my lower engine mount and the front engine mount in place, so that, and it's just loose. I'll torque it down here when we get all the engine mounts in place. But I'm left my valve cover off. I'm going to, of course, I'm going to cover that here shortly when I'm done, just and cover all the orifices. But this is a big moment. The reason why I'm leaving that off is when I hook all the oil up, I want to be able to prime that oil and see the oil being delivered in there. Call it paranoia, call it what you will, but thanks for watching. All right, I'm here with the big pig, the 470 stroker. Real quick, I wanted to tell you, somebody might have picked up on this, is I left this mid pipe and a header attached to it because there's a union here and this thing is in there really tight, and I tried a little bit of heat. I didn't want to bash on the thing, so I just worked around it. Anyway, today I got everything tested on as far as my torque down and all of that on my engine mounts, and I filled it with oil because I got all my oil connections permanent, and I tested my oil flow's a go, and I also hooked up the regulator rectifier, hooked up all the electronics on it. Although I tested it with my voltmeter as it being good, I verified that it's producing light and it's producing spark. So big things are coming. Thanks for watching. Okay, so tonight just might be the big night. I may yet start this thing tonight, believe it or not. Got most of the things on it. There's a few others to get sorted out, but I'm gonna work on it and get this thing reassembled. There's just a few things, and I might just go live with the attempt. I'm a little bit concerned about the pilot jet size, but not that much. We're gonna find out. So I know I share this on my Instagram, but I think I'm gonna go live later tonight with whatever ends up happening. It might be late, so hang in with me. So look out for a live, and if you're not my friend on Facebook, Dewey McLaughlin. You can friend me and you can watch it on there, and we'll see what happens. Okay. I'm gonna wait a few minutes just to get everybody in here. So here, get my shirt tucked in. This thing's a little bit dirty. Oh, looks like I got the battery hooked up right. Oh, forgot one thing. I left the clutch zip tied, so I gotta zip that off of there. For those of you that haven't been paying attention, this is a project that I've been working on. It's the DRZ 470 stroker from my buddy Nate. There we go. There's a purpose for that. Give a couple minutes now, and I wanted to share a couple things before I start this off, also to let a few people get in here. This last month was pretty hard on me because my mom had gotten COVID. I had gotten it too, taking care of her, missed quite a bit of work. and that wasn't very fun. But it was quite a miserable time. But all this time, you know, since Nate and I, we talked about doing this project for quite some time, and we started in November. I got a donor engine for this bike, and nothing wrong with this bike. But anyway, I thought that we ought to do a 470 stroker, and I've never done one of these ever before. So this is absolutely live. Anything could happen, but I have quite a bit of confidence. I've primed the system, I've checked for spark, primed the fuel to the tank, and just a couple more seconds here, and I'm going to get this thing fired up. And this light might glare you a little bit. I'm going to try to angle it off a little bit, but I'm going to kick it. So let me get the choke. So it might need a little bit of choke action. Prime it just a little bit more just to make sure. Okay. Hit the switch on. I'm going to give it a couple squirts because this is an accelerator pump on this FCR 39. How many kicks? How many kicks will it take? All right. You guys ready? What do you guys think about that? First kick. Look at that. Thing's idling like a champ. Oh. All right, just a second, guys. Although I do have my garage open just a little bit, I'm gonna turn my fan on to help evacuate some of these gases out. Are you kidding me? First kick? First kick? Now that is a force to be reckoned with. Look at that, guys. Woo, son. Ha ha ha. No comments or anything? What's up, Gail? Oh, got back out of that. There we go. Anything? Anybody got anything to say about that first kick? Woo, son. Ha ha ha. Dewey's garage. Are you kidding me? First kick? Ooh, son. Gotta keep that tag out of there. I think that's, now I'm over here on the side. Oh, we got a little bit of burn off, no problem. I had a little bit of coolant. And I'm gonna put some covers on this. Oh, brake light works. Yeah, woo! No leaks, no drips. This is the engine that came out of it. Anyway, guys, hey, tell me what you think. We got a couple people in here. Say something. Please keep the language clean, though. Man, that's all right. Yeah. That thing sounds like it's been ran this whole time, and it's brand spanking new. Ha ha ha. Well, hey guys, I know it's not a big deal to a lot of you guys, but if you're having a hard time, you know, a lot of people aren't happy about what things have gone on in our nation last few weeks, and you know, some people got COVID, some people have lost some people, some people are fighting it right now, some people aren't happy with what's going on in our nation. Like I said, we got a lot of hostility and negativity towards each other. But this is something positive in my world, and I wanted to share it with you all. So I don't have a whole lot other to say. I'm going to cycle this thing up nice and hot and let it cool down, and I'm not going to do anything with it until tomorrow. Then I'll do the same thing. So that's it for now. Thanks for watching.